Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast, After Dark. Tonight we're doing a first here on After Dark, something a little different, a little unprecedented. We're just discussing one single match. However, the single match in question is, in my limited understanding and the limited viewing of wrestling I've had thus far, one of the greatest matches I've ever seen of all time.
Yes. It is one of my favorite matches ever. It is one I knew we would get to eventually. But it was just a matter of like scheduling. When is there a good time to drop a really long match?
It's so true. So we are, if you are watching, if you've seen the title of this video, we are going to be getting into the Iron Man match between Shawn Heartbreak Kid Michaels and Bret Hitman Hart from WrestleMania 12.
So good.
Hip hop sirens. I'd never seen it. But it is quite essential to the lore of wrestling, and especially to the lore of wrestling that we watch currently. And on our regular show where we're at, it's about a little over a year and change later. And it's being brought up again. Like, it's like old wounds coming to life. Shawn Michaels in a promo against Bret Hart just brought this up. You know, you couldn't even beat me in 60 minutes.
Yes.
So I love when Xavier does this, because it's the Aries in him where he gets impulsive and he goes, you know, we're just gonna watch it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yay, okay. I love when that happens. So he was like, you know what, we're just gonna watch it because you need to see it, you need to understand. And oh my God, so
I think, and like where we are at in New to Wrestling is the Hart Foundation is in full force, and they're really coming after Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels. But to really understand all the ins and outs of Bret's beef, a lot of it stems from this match.
I get it. I say this all the time. I understand why Bret is so mad. This would have made me mad too.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons. But he can never say he didn't hold his own, because
he'll never say that.
He'll never not say that. True. Oh my God, so true.
So you don't call yourself the best there is, was, ever will be, and then not give yourself kudos.
Honestly, amen. He'd fit right in here. So I think before we begin, we should get into the specific rules of the Iron Man match, because it took, like, they explain it. But I still was like, the decisions confused me. And then I was like, oh, they're talking about, like, if someone gets a pinfall, if someone gets counted out, that, like, adds to your score. And then whoever had the most at the end wins.
Yeah, whoever has the most decisions at the end of the 60 minutes is the winner and the WWF champion.
Word. So, yes, a 60-minute time limit. Whoever gets the most points, decisions, allegedly wins the match. Obviously, if you're not new to wrestling, you know that there are no decisions to be had. There's not a one. They go 60 minutes without a single. It's so crazy. So we start this match. I'm going to try not to get ahead of myself. We start this match with basically just little mini biopics about who the wrestlers are. So Shawn Michaels, which we were cracking up because the way that they introduced the Shawn Michaels one, it basically makes him sound like he is a 12-year-old boy. They're like, Shawn Michaels, a 12-year-old boy with a dream. But they never say, like, they should have been like a wrestler who had a dream when he was 12.
Or like from the age of 12. It really did, like, it sounded like a butchered comma. You know what I mean?
Like that's why the Oxford comma is very important. So the whole time it just cracked me up, because it just was like, I just couldn't stop picturing like a 12-year-old boy fighting
Bret Hart.
Yes. So, you know, they go over their trainings, which beautiful footage, love to see. And obviously Shawn Michaels has trained with Jose Lothario. He has that Mexican style wrestling. And then they, of course, talk about Bret Hart training in the Hart Dungeon with his father. And, you know, they go through that whole thing, and they're different, how they were trained in literally almost opposite ends of the globe, and somehow have this very like not similar, but this crazy technical style of wrestling that
Mhm.
is really just
So and just so
so
complementary to each other.
yes, and it
Yeah,
is really crazy how regionally it's so different, but somehow it's like just
it
fuses.
works. Yeah.
Yes, fusion could work here because that's, I mean, like when they do like Mexican Asian fusion, like restaurants or
Like
any kind of thing,
restaurants.
like
Yeah, this is
yes,
like
I feel like
Canadian,
the
I want to say
Canadian,
Tex-Mex.
yeah, like poutine, Tex-Mex, like I don't know, there's something there.
Not the poutine
Not the
Tex-Mex.
poutine. That's like, which is what a sin. That's the only Canadian cuisine I could think of
I
is
think it's the only Canadian cuisine other than Tim Hortons.
yeah. And
Sorry,
I'm not
Canada. I know
no,
nothing
and
about you.
listen,
It is just this is solely out of ignorance. I know
and
absolutely
listen,
nothing about Canada.
love me some Tim Hortons. And Canadians, this isn't a diss because what is American cuisine? Let's not even go there. It's like
I,
cheeseburgers. I
I,
don't know. So like
we
I'm
not
not
even though
coming for
because that's
you.
German.
See? Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not coming for you, Canadians. Just let us know what you got going on. Um, so we get into now the entrances. I don't even know how to describe this other than what the hell. So Shawn Michaels or Bret
Hmm.
Hart comes out second, obviously being the champion. So Shawn Michaels comes out first, and they're playing his music, and Jose Lothario walks out, and he's wearing this cute little button up with like this red. It's so cute. These just an adorable man. I love him, and it made me miss them so badly because right now where we're watching the show, there Shawn Michaels is out with an injury. He's supposed to be coming back for King of the Ring. Love to see it, but he hasn't wrestled in a minute, and I was like, God, I miss them.
Hmm.
So Jose Lothario walks out and nobody is there. And or like Shawn Michaels is not with him, and Jerry is on the commentating team. So it's Jerry and Vince commentating
Hmm.
for this match. And Jerry's like, well, that's it. Jose's coming out to tell him that Shawn Michaels forfeited. He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't have what it takes. La la la.
Hmm.
Jose gets in the ring. Love this. He doesn't say a word to anybody because Gorilla Monsoon is in there too. By the way, this is crazy. They are like, oh, by the way, we can now officially say that Gorilla Monsoon is the president of the WWE
Yeah.
before the match starts, which I didn't even. I've only known him ever as the
Hmm.
president of the WWE, so that was the thrill. But Jose gets in there, doesn't say a word to anybody because everyone's like,
Hmm.
"Where is Shawn Michaels? What's happening?" He just gets up on in the corner on the second rope and he just points like this.
Yes.
Music starts again. Shawn Michaels on the
Guys, I
top
told
of
her nothing. I told her nothing.
no, literally nothing. So Xavier's watching me because I'm like, what is happening? Like, where is he? Like, what is going on? And a la Lady Gaga at the Super Bowl, Shawn Michaels did it first. Shawn Michaels did it first. Shawn Michaels zipline so Lady Gaga could descend. I'm just saying.
Hmm.
Shawn Michaels is on the top of wherever they are because they're somewhere in Southern California, right? I don't know what arena it's in. Probably should have made note of that. I was too distracted by the zip lining.
Somewhere
But
in
he's
Southern California.
somewhere in SoCal, but he's up on the top of the arena in his little fit. He's just dancing up there. And I go, he is not about to zip line. He's
Hmm.
not. I'm going to
No.
lose my mind. He do.
He did.
And he do. And he did. And he did. Okay.
So good.
He, from the top.
Amazing. It's spectacular. Like,
I,
and what a visual. And the camera shot of after he like launches and the camera shot from like behind as he's like rappelling down, not rappelling, that's not the right word, ziplining like down. So
Mhm.
cool. It's such a cool shot because the entire crowd is just like looking because it's like it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Shawn Michaels. And like it's such an amazing shot. And it's
It's
not
so
something that
good.
has been like really done too much. Uh,
No,
so it was awe inspiring.
it really was. And I love, again, the use of costuming because his fit is very reflective. So the lights are like the spotlights are shining on him. He's like glistening like a disco ball as he's making his way downtown. And he lands like in the crowd. Like I thought he was gonna land in the ring. He lands right in the crowd, and they're all like the clique. They're all like
Mm-hmm.
embracing him. He lands amongst the people, a man of the people. They unhook him and he's just standing there. Like he's
Just no,
Superman.
fully like very
Love.
looking all Mr. Incredible. Just
love. And then he just walks into the ring, has himself his little striptease. They had to play his song like 14 times. I wasn't even upset.
I know. I love that. I
Um,
love that, like, for some reason, he only has, like, a 30-second, like, soundbite that they just keep looping. It's because they
and they
probably couldn't get him to, like, record anymore.
right, like, and they
Like,
really need to figure out how to more seamlessly loop it.
loop
Like,
that.
there's definitely better ways to do it
Let's
because something it
talk.
just like
Let's
ends and
talk.
starts. It's like
I was
there's
like, I do this
definitely
all the time for work. Let's
for a
talk. We
living,
we can figure
yeah.
this out.
I know
Like,
the technology is there.
mm,
Um, so he's in the ring, and I love. So then Shawn Michaels is in the ring. Bret's music starts playing, and I love that Bret is who he is. He doesn't bother with any of that mess. He's like, okay, well, I'll just walk to the ring like a normal person, you weirdo.
right.
Which I kind of love because it
And
really
also,
juxtaposes who they are.
yes, I was gonna say it is very much so those two, like, in an entrance form.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely. Like Bret's like, okay, like he didn't even try to do anything fancy,
no,
and I
Brett
love that.
just
I
stands
live for
on
that.
business.
Stands on
Brett,
business, lets the
he's
wrestling
here.
talk for itself.
He said, "Point, make it fast." Like, you know what I
But
mean? Like,
we got
whereas
60 minutes
Sean
to fight.
is pomp and circumstance.
I
Like,
with and I love both flavors. I
no,
love both. Like, give me
absolutely.
two scoops on my waffle cone. I love both flavors.
Thank
Like,
you.
so he is wearing too, because I'm used to Bret Hart wearing this, like, which I love, this like leather Calgary hockey jacket
Hmm.
from the hockey team that he has, which I love.
The Hitman.
Yes. But he comes into this like marching band-esque jacket,
I love it. I
which I
love the shoulder pads on a
love.
marching uniform.
Yes,
Like,
with the
I live for it.
tassels. Here
Hmm.
for it. This one was very like a la Black Parade, like My
Yes,
Chemical Romance
that
era.
is my ish.
I
Ooh, I
know.
eat that up. Oh yeah.
He's got the tat to prove it. Um, he's got all the important tats I need for references.
Yeah,
Um,
honestly.
Party Boys, Call Me by Your Name, Black Parade,
Yeah.
Panic at
If
the
I like it, it's
Disco.
going on my body. I'm
You know,
I'm
I
not one of
love.
those people that needs to be very precious about your tat. Like, if I like it, it's going on me forever because I like
Yeah.
it. No
Yep.
further explanation.
That's it. And I love that about you. But I love it. I love the fit, love the look. So he comes out, and none other than my favorite boy, Earl, is the referee for the Iron Man match. And you know I love to see Earl.
Earl.
And I haven't heard Earl talk too much, but he is the one that gets on the mic and explains the rules of the Iron Man match, which I
Mhm.
love. But he goes, now this here is an Iron Man match. And I was
Yeah.
like, I did not know Earl was from the South. Like, or he has that
Oh my
twang.
God, he got that twang. He said it's an Iron Man match. I was
It's
like,
an
geez, where's
Iron
he
Man
from?
match.
I was like, he
Now,
sounded like
y'all,
John Travolta in Hairspray.
yo, oh my God, he really
Or
did
maybe it's Baltimore. I don't know.
something. I don't know. We got to look this up later. But Earl, he explains the rules. He's like, you gentlemen have any questions for me or whatever? And they're like, all right, like, and he takes the belt from Bret. And then the match gets underway. Like,
Hmm.
woo, we get a cook in. Oh, also, Bret gives his glasses to his son,
Oh yeah, very
Blade.
cute. Very cute. Yes, Blade.
Blade. Very
First name
90s,
Blade.
Xavier pointed out.
Yeah, very
Um,
90s. Very, very 90s.
Blade is
Very
a very 90s. I named my child Blade. Very,
hmm.
very that.
Right.
Which is
It
so
seems
sweet though.
neon, you know?
Yes. Oh my God, so true. Woo. Um, so I we're watching this match, and I wanted to talk about this because I had no idea this was a thing. I like from the jump, I'm like, it is literally so crazy. I can't fathom like orchestrating a match like this that's an hour long, and you have
Right.
to like kind of figure out what the moves are going to be. Like that's a lot of foresight and planning. And Xavier's like, no, no planning. Shawn
No,
Michaels
not like
doesn't plan.
so yeah, so
Explain yourself,
this
sir.
comes from a very recently it was talked about Logan Paul wrestles nowadays. And
Oh yeah.
it was talked about his how in depth he prepares for his matches. Like, he is very much the kind of person that needs to know what's happening at every, like, step. Somebody else that was
Oh.
also very like that was the Macho Man.
Oh, really?
The Macho Man also did not like to be surprised. He liked to know what was going on.
Interesting.
But when they were talking about, like, someone was talking about, like, Logan Paul, like, preparing for matches or whatever, and then they go, ask how long. They're like, oh, that's all well and good, and they're like, ask how long Shawn Michaels takes to prepare for a match. And they all like everyone just kind of like laughs. And it's just like, and it is just like not like he doesn't prepare like ever. It's that he's so talented and it comes so naturally to him that he kind of knows like the big spots and the rest is Jesus take the wheel. Like he's just that talented. And that there are very few performers, point blank, period, that can do that.
Well, yeah,
And
that's
do that and
crazy.
have the trust of the other person. Because obviously, you know, we are working with somebody else. Their life is in your hands, quite literally. So
Literally.
you have to really, really trust in someone's ability to do that sort of thing to run with that. So like,
Mm,
and especially like a match like this, definitely it had more planning because there are certain
had to
like,
be.
yes, because if you it, we'll get into it, but um, you know, there are major spots that happen,
Right.
that were
Yes.
definitely discussed beforehand, but you can kind of just like tell just by like looking at like Shawn's face or the way he like transitions. It's like he is just whatever feels right, he's going with. and
That
and
is
and
so
you also
crazy.
need that to a certain extent because you have to be adaptable because sometimes the plan goes out the window.
It's true.
Sometimes what you thought the match was going to be is not what it is. So
It's very true.
yeah. So yeah.
I
So
like
Sean's
the
wild for that one.
Yeah, totally. But I like the energy of knowing that they hate each other and yet trusted each other enough to like do
So
this.
at this point in time, it is less like a personal
Volatile
hatred. It is more just like a personal or a professional
beef.
like competition.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I Brett doesn't like appreciate Shawn personality wise at this
Right.
point, but he's like he can work. So
Right.
that's where we're kind of at in this. It is in the era we're watching now in new to wrestling that he really develops a resentment for Shawn for
You can
things
feel
like
it.
sunny days and
Woo! That's crazy.
the events that are coming. So, um, yes.
I
So,
can't believe more events are coming crazy.
so you
Still
haven't even
wild
seen the
regardless.
biggest event between the two.
I know, and I know it's coming, I think like later this year, right?
Yeah.
I've never been
We have a
excited for the
ways.
fall.
We are in May. We have until November. We have 6 months.
Okay. Crazy. But yeah, so I just like I admire that level of trust and like no one knowing someone trusts you that much is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could easily be like I trust you so much, but like knowing you trust me that much is wild. Like the reverse is pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm. I
So
get that.
I respect the hell out of them for that. Um Obviously, Jerry on commentary. Sorry, my notes are a little bit all over the place, but Jerry on commentary is classic Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't waste time going after Bret Hart's father for being old, as he often does, and
Right.
says if like Jose Lothario and Bret Hart's dad get in the ring, it would be like a Jurassic Park match.
Mm-hmm.
And then says that I think his mom's name is Kim, right? Kim Hart. Either
Him.
way, Bret Hart's mom said that
Mm-hmm.
like she wasn't there in the moment when he was insulting them and was like, "Oh, you know what it is? She went shopping earlier today and she went to the antique store and they decided to keep her to sell
Mm-hmm.
because she's old."
Yeah, I was like, ooh, that's
Mm.
clever, but
And like
ooh.
it was funny in the moment, but at the same time, I'm like, Jerry, first of all, I know what you look like right now and you age like milk, curdled
Yeah.
milk.
Hindsight though.
Real
We
real
have the
bad.
luxury of.
It's true, and I love that luxury for me.
Mhm.
Just to be able to be like when he says stuff like that, just sit here like you don't even know.
Just you wait.
Yes, you wait.
Just
Father
you
Time is
wait.
gonna be at that door pretty soon, buddy.
He stops for
Um,
no man.
no man. So some highlights of the match. I mean, there's this moment where Shawn Michaels like leg scissor launches Brett out through the ropes to the outside. Like
Hmm.
it somehow like Shawn Michaels was like in the corner, Brett was coming after him. Shawn Michaels like jumps up, gets him in the leg scissor, and then I don't even know
The
how
head
he did
scissor,
it. The
he
head
grabs
scissor,
the
thank you.
ropes. He grabs
Oh
both
yes,
hands on the
okay.
ropes, kind of walks his hands over to get momentum, swings his body to the side of Brett, launching Brett through the ropes onto the floor.
wild.
Absolutely wild. I did want to make
Really amazing.
a quick point that in this first, like, I want to say like 30 minutes of this match, the sole purpose of this is to show that Shawn is on the same level technically as Bret. If like so
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So if it was really bandied about that like Shawn Michaels in the opening like parts of the match was really wrestling a match that was counter what we know and love of Shawn Michaels.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, that's
and
so
part of
true.
that is from a storyline perspective is like you would expect Bret to expect all that the flamboyance, the showmanship, the blah 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 blah. So from a storyline perspective, it's like, I'm smart, I'm thinking. But from a
Mm,
like a wrestler perspective or like from an audience member like watching, we need to know that Shawn is on every level that Bret is on. And to go from, you know, and we've talked about this before, to go from the monster dude wrestlers that we've had and we're kind of trickling like into smaller, more athletic wrestlers at like literally this is the pipeline. Hogan, Bret, Shawn.
yeah.
Um, that he has to, and we've talked about this before in episodes, like when you're a smaller wrestler, you got to do everything more. You got to be bigger
Right.
than life. You have to just so this opening contest where they were, it was very technical. It was very much so hold, counter, hold, submission, hold, counter, hold, submission. And like that was to show that Shawn can hang with Bret because that's
Love
Bret's
that.
bread and butter. That's his whole
Yes.
shtick. And for him to kind of not only hang but really be the aggressor in that style of match was a very pointed thing, like a very
Yep.
like it was a decision that was made.
I mean, I'm so glad you pointed that out because they definitely talk about it a lot.
Hmm.
Like where they're like, wow, I'm so surprised that like Shawn isn't like bouncing around, high flying, the Mexican
Right,
style, like doing
it's
all that stuff.
versatility. Like
Oh my God, I love
they're trying
that.
to sell Shawn as being a multifaceted wrestler.
I mean, and they did a job well done because he really, really is. And like that is such a good point. I'm so glad you pointed that out. Um, yeah, so crazy. Then there's also a point, Bret clotheslines Shawn Michaels over the top rope. And Shawn, the way he sells, we've talked about it 10,000 times. I mean, he drops like a sack of potatoes. Like he literally drops like somebody threw him out of a plane. Like just so crazy. Um, there's also a really crazy exchange where because after Shawn Michaels is out of the ring, after Bret Hart clotheslines him, then Bret jumps out because he wants to just get a few more little licks in. But somehow Shawn Michaels throws him into the lap of the timekeeper. And in the moment, as Bret's sitting on the timekeeper's lap, I go, why can't it be me? I wish
Hmm.
that was me. And then in 3 seconds, Shawn Michaels goes to hit Bret with Sweet Chin Music, or, the
Hmm.
kick. And Bret dives out of the way, connects with the timekeeper, knocks him out cold. And I was like,
Hmm.
never mind, I take it back. I'm
Right,
fine sitting over here. That's fine.
here where it is safe.
Crazy.
I know, poor
You're
guy.
where it is safe. Poor guy. They knock him out so cold. They literally have to get medical personnel to take this man out on a
Hmm.
stretcher and get
So,
somebody else to come to keep the time. Uh, uh,
uh,
it's
I
just
love it.
the comedy of it. Like, okay, I'm gonna sit in the timekeeper's
Hmm.
lap and then literally be like,
Yeah. I also love it because it shows like I was like these are not like normal people in there doing that. You know what I mean? Like a normal
yeah,
person gets absolutely obliterated and has to get taken out on a stretcher.
it's
Like,
so true.
you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
like
Like
every
these are
single thing.
not your run of the mill dudes. Like,
Yeah, like they're not supposed to be taking hits like that. Yeah, like it's so true because I think Bret Hart gets hit with like Sweet Chin Music at least like 3 times before something finally happens. I mean,
mhm.
they're taking licks for like a whole hour. And so we're 20 minutes in and which also I love. I was thinking this because they had put the countdown clock on the screen. But I was like, I hope they did it in the arena too. When they did, I clocked it. Like
Mhm.
they also did a countdown in the arena because you need that.
Right.
But I was like, they're only 20 minutes in. I was like, I cannot believe they're gonna do 40 more minutes of this. This is crazy. Like it's
Mhm.
impossible. cut forward to me at like 15 minutes. I was like, what? There's only 15 minutes left. Well, how did, because they're that good.
They're that good.
They're that good. But there's one part where Shawn Michaels knees Bret in the stomach and then throws him shoulder first into the ring post. So,
yes.
and when I tell you, like Shawn Michaels throws him like a torpedo into that thing, and like the connection is so crazy.
Yeah.
All of these hits sound like the worst possible thing that's ever happened to either of them. Like the being when they get thrown into the corner, and like I know both of them are amazing at selling, especially Shawn Michaels will do like a flip and a turn and a like wobble leg fall and all of that, but the sounds are not fake. Like when they're hitting the ring post, like it's just so aggressive.
It's so aggressive. It's so aggressive. And that starts like the onslaught of like Shawn just attacking Bret's shoulder for like
I was gonna say
10 minutes.
And then he goes after the shoulder for like a long time, like knee in the shoulder, like doing submissions, like arm
like
bars, like
arm around the ring post, like fully doing like an arm bar, like with his foot on Bret's face, and like yeah, wild,
just beyond. That one point, they even take out our patron saint Earl. They're like trying to do this move off the top rope, and it ends up being sloppy regardless. Like
yeah, it's like
it was
Bret's trying to do like a diving knee off the top rope to the back of Shawn Michaels, but Shawn Michaels isn't like on the like in the ring, he's also on the ropes or like in the corner, so it just kind of like looks very like jolty,
they kind of
like jaunty, and like poor Earl gets knocked down in the hubbub.
yeah, because I
And
don't yeah.
because he gets up like pretty quickly. So I don't think it was like like this is a moment for the ref to be knocked out. I think I think he just was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
For sure. Because I don't know if he was confused as to what they were doing, because they seemed confused as to what they were
That's what I'm
doing.
saying.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think it was like you said, because also I looked at the time and I was like, okay, if it's like closer to end time, maybe if they knock out the ref and then like somebody gets like a pinfall and the usual hullabaloo. But I was like, it's at like 40 minutes. Like there's no way this is like the thing. Like so yeah, Earl gets right back up because he's that guy. Then I don't remember how Bret Hart ends up on the outside. I don't remember. I mean, I'm assuming Shawn Michaels throws him through or something. But Shawn Michaels does a frog splash, I believe is what it's called, from the outside, or just
it's like a crossbody or like a plancha.
Crossbody. Okay, or a plancha. So Bret Hart gets hit with the crossbody from Shawn Michaels on the outside.
So so Bret Hart is on the floor outside of the ring. Shawn Michaels is on the top rope. So he jumps from the top rope corner onto the floor. Like it is a big leap.
And he like bangs his knee on the railing. Like it did not look pleasant. I mean, even if it's perfectly executed, it can be pleasant regardless.
Yeah, but like he was really going for it. Like he was like as soon as his second foot was on the top rope, he jumped. Like it was immediate. It was
didn't set it up at all. Like he was just like, God is my witness. Here I go. Yeah.
And that's what we mean. Like Shawn is just so like like so impulsive, so like we'll do the show stopping thing regardless of consequences.
And he needs to know that Bret is gonna be there in the right place. Like he barely looked. He was like, I'm just gonna jump. He better be there. Like, and he was. It's just crazy, like the trust. Then there's one part they're both back in the ring because they do this like this back and forth, which cracks me up. Like, so like if Shawn or Bret is knocked out on the outside, so Shawn jumps back in the ring and they're gonna count out Bret, but instead Shawn Michaels jumps out to be like, no, not like this. And so then they restart the count again, and then like Shawn will drag Bret in because he's like, no, I'm gonna get him this way. Like this whole rigmarole. But at one point, they're both in the ring, and Bret Hart, again, this, like, I'm not even sure how this happened, but Bret Hart launches Shawn Michaels over the top of the ring post. Yeah. And literally, like, takes out the camera. Like, the camera was like this, like, at the ring post, and, like, you just see Shawn's body coming over, and then it's like camera down. You don't even, we had to wait for the replay to see what actually happened.
Yeah. So Bret was in the corner and Shawn comes running at him, and Bret just back body drops Shawn Michaels over the ring post onto the floor. And
Like,
I thought originally that it hit the cameraman. He didn't hit the cameraman. It's
oh,
just
okay.
where the cameraman was, he had to move immediately to get out of the way.
And he
Because
did.
they show it from when they show it from the other angle, you can see the cameraman like scurrying over like to the announce table, like and just barely making it in time.
God
So
bless.
yeah.
He knew it's
Really
not his first day of work.
wildin'. No, you can't.
Love that. So that's crazy. And then at one point they get back in the ring and Brett suplexes Shawn from the top rope. I'm just going through the highlights,
Hmm.
but Brett suplexes Shawn from the top rope, which is bananas.
Hmm.
He hits like a mofo
Yeah, and
real
this is
bad.
like 40 minutes in. Like so
Yeah, I
these
I said it's 40 minutes in and no decisions yet, not how
mm,
one. And I love that they did this. I
mm-hmm.
love that they did this. I love that it didn't get into the dollars and cents numbers game. Like oh, it was a this counted and this didn't. Not nil.
That's
Love.
Pat. Pat
I love
Patterson. That's
Pat.
his idea.
I
He
know.
wanted he wanted the Iron Man match. He pushed for it. He wanted it to go the limit and go into sudden death. Like that was all his brainchild. So
Wow. I
kudos.
mean, thanks, Pat. Um, so then at one point, of course, I knew this was coming a mile away because Jose has to get knocked down. And he gets knocked
Listen,
down
once
twice
you're a
and not
wrestler, you're always you can't
you're
not
taking
get
bumps for
involved.
life.
Yeah, you're
You're
taking
taking
bumps for
bumps for
life.
life. That should be a shirt too.
Taking bumps for life. Love
Once
that.
you're a wrestler, you're taking bumps for life, which sounds really like
Hmm.
not good, but if you're a wrestler, you'll know what it actually means. Um But yeah, so obviously Shawn somehow gets thrown into Jose. They both go down, and then
Hmm.
literally Brett's like, "No, I'm not finished with you yet," and throws Shawn into Jose again,
Again.
also getting Shawn simultaneously thrown into the steel steps. He said a 2-for-1 special.
No,
Um,
100%.
love. But Jose, being the man he is, he gets up and he's okay.
Hmm.
Um, but this is crazy too. Shawn Michaels gets launched out of the ring after Bret Hart breaks out of a roll up. So like Shawn Michaels had Bret in like the roll up
Hmm.
thing, and somehow Bret breaks it and literally like uses his feet to like launch Shawn like clear through the
Yeah, that's
ring
Sean
ropes, and
selling. That's Sean
that
selling.
which is
100%.
amazing because it
Hmm.
literally looked like a superhero fight
No,
where it's
yeah.
like someone gets like a little jab and they go through like three walls
Right.
like into a conference room.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
what it felt like.
Yeah. And that's what he wants. He wants you to feel like Brett is like doing damage. Like
Yes.
that Brett is so desperate to get out of it that he like launched Sean, you know? And like what a great little tidbit of storytelling.
I love that. There's also a moment where there is a Brett does a pile driver that looks horrible.
Oh, yeah, it was
Came
really
down
on the
really bad, really scary. But obviously Sean's okay. And then Brett gets Shawn from the outside. So then there's a point where I'm sorry, I wrote the quickest notes, but Brett cross bodies Shawn on the
hmm.
outside.
Yeah.
So he said, I'm gonna get my receipt, I'm gonna
Turnabout's
get my
fair.
licks in.
Yeah. Turnabout's fair play.
Turnabout's fair play. And I wrote a note, wild that Brett still hasn't gone for the sharpshooter. And that's another point that they bring up the whole time. Like that
Yes.
Brett hasn't even attempted to put Shawn in the sharpshooter at this point, and there's like maybe 20 minutes left. So 40 minutes have gone by, maybe more, and Brett hasn't even attempted to sharpshooter
He
Shawn
doesn't attempt
Michaels.
until like the last like couple minutes. He doesn't go for it at all until the last couple minutes. He doesn't get it until the last 30 seconds. And if
Yeah,
that is not storytelling, like I don't know what to tell you. I was like,
because you're waiting for it. You're
yeah,
like, when? And there's some moments where he almost like teases it, where he like gets his legs up and then he like does a headbutt into the abdomen instead.
right. Or like does like a single leg crab or like
Yeah,
Sean wriggles out of it. It's great. Because it's like that's what you're waiting for him to like pull his ace out of his back pocket and you're like you're running out of time, dude. Like when is what's happening? Like
right. And it's
so
it's it's crazy to see both of them not doing like their things because Sweet Chin Music doesn't even happen until later either. Like it happens a few
correct.
times, but it's not even like full caliber where he like goes in the corner and does the stompy
No,
stompy
yeah.
and like whatever.
And that's the like they wanted it to be that way. Like they
The
wanted
thing.
it to be
Yes.
like well they built this match the way Tolkien took the hobbits out of the Shire. Like they
Uh,
built like they
long.
took their time. It started out like with basic wrestling moves. And then it got a little bit, a little more saucier, a little more saucier, a little more saucier. And like they waited until the last minutes of the match to pull out finishers.
It was like
Last.
a it was like a great DJ set where it's like such a slow build and then like
Mm-hmm.
they really edge you into the beat dropping and then by the time it does you're like feral.
Right.
You're like
Absolutely.
begging for it.
No,
Yeah, for sure.
literally.
Um so then the first time Bret does go for the sharpshooter, Bret suplexes Shawn Michaels from the top rope yet again, then immediately tries to get him in the sharpshooter, but Shawn breaks free.
Mm-hmm.
Like he gets out of it. He's like, "Oh no," and like is like kicking him like in the abdomen. He's like really fighting it and he gets out.
Yeah.
Then Shawn Michaels does this insane thing where he does a moonsault
Oh
and
yeah.
immediately puts Bret in the cradle.
Yeah. It was
It was
amazing.
crazy. It was crazy. I can't even process doing a moonsault period because like any sort of backflip or whatever like makes me just so scared. But because I feel like with a front flip you're like tucked, like it just feels
Yes.
safer.
Well, you're blind. You have to jump blind. You
Oh my
can't
god, it's
look at
so
your
crazy.
opponent before you do it. You're literally faced the other way.
It's
So,
so crazy. So the
and
he
talk
does
about trust. Like you have
uh,
to like just you're gonna be there.
and not even just land it in a position that then you can roll into the cradle. It's
Hmm.
like it was so amazing. And they've been wrestling for 50 minutes.
Yeah.
50 minutes moonsault into the cradle. So crazy. Bret breaks I like put moonsault into cradle OMG. But then, Bret breaks out. Then there's another part where Bret Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, it's okay.
Shawn Michaels, because now he's whipping out the Mexican style wrestling where he's jumping, he's high flying, he's all over the place, he's whatever. So he gets up on the top rope again to do
Hmm.
something, and Bret catches him and immediately puts him in the sharpshooter. It was like
Oh yeah.
so good.
This is the last like 40 seconds of the match.
40 seconds. Like the
So,
commentators are screaming, like
mhm.
freaking out.
So
Go
Sean
ahead.
goes backflip, uh, does the backflip, gets the pin attempt, goes for an elbow drop,
Yes.
and then goes to the top rope again to do it looks like he's going for a drop kick.
Okay.
He goes for the drop kick. Bret grabs both legs on the way down, immediately turns him over into the sharpshooter. 30 seconds on the clock. 30 seconds.
Crazy.
So Shawn just has to sit there for 30 seconds, and the crowd's going nuts because they know the time's elapsing. The commentary team is like, he's gonna do it, like he's gonna give up, like there's no way he's gonna last 30 seconds in this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I live for it. It's so good. And all the while, like the time is elapsing. We get in the countdown. We get to the 10 seconds, and we're like, is it gonna happen? Is this really how it's
Is
gonna
this a
go?
wrap? Yeah.
Um, Especially if like the first time, like if you didn't know, like you're like, wait, what? Like an
Yeah.
hour, nothing. So
Nothing.
uh Shawn Michaels doesn't give up. The
Duh.
bell rings. There's a bit of confusion because Earl grabs the title belt and like gives it to Bret, seemingly thinking that Shawn didn't beat Bret in the time allotted. So
Yep.
typically there is what's called like a champion's advantage. So basically what that means is that the challenger has to beat the champion. The champion typically doesn't have to beat the challenger.
Right.
So yeah, so like in normal matches they can retain by like disqualification or count out, whatever. In this scenario, seemingly what the champion's advantage is, if you can't beat me in the time allotted, I won then.
Which
I'm the
makes sense
champion.
to me.
Right.
Makes sense to me. I would be the same. I'd be like, all right, well, great match. You did your thing, like, but you don't win. You didn't get the
Right.
title. That's what I
So,
would think. But it
and that's
doesn't
what
play
Brett
out that
does
way.
think.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, Bret grabs the title. He's like, well, la di da. Like I'm so and he starts walking out because he's like, yeah, okay. suddenly here pops up Gorilla Monsoon. He runs into the ring. He's discussing with Earl. He's having all these little conversations. Suddenly the announcer comes back and he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, the time of this match has concluded with no decisions, blah blah blah. However, we like the match, basically this match will go into sudden death because there has to be a clear winner.
Right.
Like someone has to get a clear pinfall, a clear count out. There has to be a winner." And I am curious because I don't know this. Why do they mention Roddy Piper?
At this point, he's like in a position of authority.
Okay.
At this point in time. So
Because they're like, Roddy Piper demands it.
right.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay.
He's
Like,
like one of the, and at this point, he's like one of the people making decisions.
I see.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh,
Okay, and
okay. And what? Like, what
right.
is, I don't care. But so yeah, so Brett starts walking back and he's like, he starts yelling at Gorilla Monsoon. He's like, what the hell? Like, this isn't fair. Like, I didn't lose. Like, he didn't beat me.
Right.
But then they're like, no, they insist. So then he's like, all right, ring that freaking bell. Then he's like, all right, let's get it going then, because Shawn Michaels is still recovering from the 30 seconds of sharpshooter I put in him. So now I got to capitalize.
Right.
So he throws the bell. He starts going like, all right, ring the bell, let's go. And as soon as that bell rings, he's on Shawn Michaels like white on rice. Like he is
absolutely wailing in the corner.
Coming in so hot. By the way, I finally finished my notebook today, and I had to finish
on the side, the back page. I love that.
I love it. An end of an era. End of an era. So Brett comes in so hot at first, but then, oh God, I was so stressed out. Xavier was watching me. He's like, "You look stressed." I was like, "I am. What do you mean? I've never seen this. This is crazy." Because I knew Shawn Michaels won. I mean, that's obvious. They talk about it a lot, but I didn't know how, and I didn't know it was gonna be like this.
I know.
But Brett is coming in so hot. He's getting the upper hand. He's whatever, and then Shawn, in the most, like, he does like a frail lead into the sweet chin music, but when I tell you that kick connects and it is so powerful and it knocks Brett on his ass, Shawn covers him and he gets the win. 1, 2, 3.
So good.
Shocked.
So good.
I knew what happened and it still shocked me. I was like,
it's because it's the way that they did it. It's the storytelling. It's the way it wouldn't have mattered. I could have told you like most of the details of the match, but the way that they do it is so enthralling. Like, it's just, you can't help but be like, oh yeah, I'm hooked. I'm in. Like, because like no other two people at this point in time could be that entertaining for an hour.
Oh my God, it's so true.
First of all, let's not even like, we haven't even gone into how physically difficult it is to do anything for an hour. Like, anything physical for an hour. That is not easy. That is not easy. That is like a whole workout with breaks. Like, just all the way throughout. Like, no, it is just go for an hour. Not only do you have to be like physically probably in the best shape of your life, you also need to be entertaining the entire time.
It's so true.
Because there are people who are, this is the main event. This is it. It is the biggest show of the year. You two are it, and you have to perform for an hour.
That's crazy, because I'm going to say something that sounds mean, but there are some matches that are only 10 minutes long that I'm like, when is this going to end?
Yes.
And they had me seated, engaged on the edge of my seat for an hour. Like I said, I was like at the 40-minute mark, I was like, I don't know how are they going to do this for 40 more minutes. And then I was like, 15 minutes? What? I was like, how did the time fly that fast? I was like, I did not pay attention to that clock at all. I was so engaged in what they were doing. So insane. The physicality of it, the selling, the storytelling, the trust, the like.
And this is Shawn's first championship win. This really is the culmination of his like childhood dream. Like, so they mention it a lot because it really is like, this is the Shawn, we can get into like documentaries and books and whatever about Shawn Michaels, but
Love that
Shawn
guy.
was not a great student. Shawn was, this is what Shawn was going to do. So to, and they said it, he's been in the WWF for 7 years, but he's been wrestling for like 14, something like that,
Yeah,
in total up to this point. So that it is the culmination of 14 years of effort to get to this point. And you can
crazy.
see it like written on his face. He's very clearly like emotional about
As
it.
soon as he gets the pinfall, he like rolls up and he's like this.
Yes. So
I thought it was his first time holding the belt,
it's
but
his
I
first,
wasn't
yeah, it was his
100%
first
sure.
title win. Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And what a way to win it the
what
first
a way to
time.
win it.
60-minute Iron Man match that goes into sudden death. Girl, that's the only way. After 14 years, that's the only way I'd want to win.
That's
That's
that.
crazy.
That's what I'm
I've
saying.
worked this hard for this long. It's got to be a banger.
And it was. And it was.
Legendary shit. That's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Oh, so Shawn Michaels celebrates as he should. Bret storms out very angrily. Obviously, he's literally so angry. You ever been so angry you just start taking off your clothes?
Yeah.
He's just whoosh,
He's
taking off his clothes. He's
taking
like,
off his singlet,
I
he's
can't
marching to the
even.
back. And you know he's mad because it's a year later and he's still citing this source. Like
I'm set. Oh, the
like,
bibliography is it's still the top one.
right.
Michaels, Shawn.
Right.
WrestleMania 12. And the deepest cut of all, the lemon juice in the cut is that it cuts to Bret's son, who he gave the glasses to, who just watched his dad get his ass beat, singing Shawn Michaels music.
Yeah. Oh, I was like, why would you
No.
do that? Why would you do that?
He's
Why
literally
would you
going
do
like,
that to
I
Brett?
know I'm sexy. And I'm like, no,
Yeah. I was
this
like,
is
ooh.
this is
Ooh.
so harsh. So harsh. They did that on purpose.
So
They hurt him
so
extra
yeah.
deep.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm so glad we watched this because this is literally like I obviously knew it was a big deal, but now like having the actual context is like
Mm-hmm.
I am fueled with so many things because it's like
Right.
again, I love both of them so much where it's like I want them both to win so badly in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And both of their stories, it's like so crazy to like love them both so much because both their stories are so good. Like
Mm-hmm.
Shawn Michaels, like 14 years overcoming this thing, winning in sudden death, so amazing, but also you're like, oh, Brett, like
Brett,
you
like excellence of
lasted that
execution,
long.
like
Like,
went through the like the era of the giants and survived and ended up on top. And like you, and really
yes.
like not for nothing, like he did not lose in the like quote unquote like the match.
The
So he
scheme of
like
things,
so
yeah.
in his brain, like he's like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like why am I being
I
punished for fulfilling my obligation? And like I
breaks your
can see
heart.
that. Like I get that. I mean, maybe not for a whole year, but I get that.
Yeah, right, totally. Breaks your heart.
It does.
That this is his villain origin story. It doesn't happen
Literally,
right away,
this
but
is it.
literally, and I get it and I understand, and this is good television. This is good
That's
television.
what
I
I'm
am so
saying.
enthralled.
I'm so glad you have this backdrop now because like they reference the match a lot, but to
Yes.
really understand where Brett's coming from on this, like you have to watch it. Like you
And
have to watch it.
and you guys know I love him. I've always said that. And like,
Hmm.
because at first when he was first coming back, I was like, who is this man? He seems annoying. And I was like, oh God, I love him so
Yeah.
much. But now this is like, oh God, I feel like I understand you more.
Hmm.
I feel like I understand him on
Because
such a level.
when we started the show, he was on his hiatus from this.
Yes.
So
Oh, that's right. It's from this. I forgot it was
correct.
from this.
Yeah.
This is so crazy. So many
Hmm.
things, so many pieces coming together, full circle
Full
moments. Like
circle.
timelines are ending, other ones are beginning anew. I don't
Hmm.
even know what's happening.
I love it. I love it. I love
Wow.
it.
What a thrill. Oh my God. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope you guys rewatch this in lieu of this episode and just enjoy and gag the way that we did because what a thrill. And this is just a quick little jaunt for you guys. And we hope you all are enjoying the switch up of because right now this show is now going to be airing on Thursdays
Hmm.
in place of the regular show, which our regular show will now be on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Uh,
Also, note, we're gonna just for the sake of the two of us and for you all under like when we're talking new to wrestling, the Raw rewatch, we're just gonna say new to wrestling.
oh
When
yeah.
we're talking after dark, or New to Wrestling Podcast After Dark, we're just gonna say After Dark, just for the sake of
Yeah, sorry.
clarity. No. And I realize like I should have set that in place long ago, but for just for the sake of clarity's sake, we'll say New to Wrestling as the Raw rewatch, and then we'll say After Dark as anything that isn't the Raw rewatch.
Right. Okay.
Just for the
So
sake of
clarity.
everybody being on the same page.
Yes. So After Dark is now going to be on Thursdays because sometimes we handle a lot heavier subjects and, you know, we don't really want to ruin your weekends with
Right.
some of the things we get into. So New to Wrestling will be on Saturdays. You can enjoy your weekend watching, rewatching Raw with us if you're into that. Well, we hope you guys enjoy the new setup. We hope you guys enjoy your week. And we'll see you this Saturday with our Raw rewatch New Wrestling.
I know, it's hard to say.
It is hard to say. But we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.